I'm I'm Eric Chen. I'm from Singapore, and I found that I have autism only when I was 18.
Unlike many others who suffer from autism, Eric is one of the very few who have emerged from its cold prison. In 2002, after having spent 20 years of his life trapped in a strange, surreal and intensely lonely world, a world without emotions, he saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
I began to see people in my dreams gradually over the next few months after I reconnected my emotions. The thing is that originally my dreams, they were very little people. Most of people that will appear in the dreams are those like decorative items, or I mean they are not real people in the sense as people will understand them as real people.
Autism is characterized by a range of symptoms which include difficulties with cognition and emotion, sensory abnormalities, as well as motor dysfunction. Because of this, diagnosis is often late, as was the case with Eric. He was only diagnosed as a high-functioning autistic in 2001, prompted by an article he read on the internet.
I chanced upon an article on MSNBC about autism, and when I read the article, I found that the characteristics described in the article fit me exactly to a T. For me as a child, I completely was not able to understand all this make-believe, all this pretend play, and I was excluded from childhood that way. I was only keen to know literal information, not like emotional information, not fictional information. So fairy tales were meaningless to me, and they were just memorized for the sake of like memorization. I mean, for me, when I was young, I did not really become aware that I had emotions. The emotions were at the periphery of my consciousness. It was like, it's a bit like there and it's a bit like it's not there. So, like for example, anger. I may not know that I'm angry, and it hardly occurs to me that I need to really get angry. It's just how to put it? It just never comes true to me that there's such a thing as emotions. There are even simple things like, for example, enjoying relaxing under the sky, or enjoying eating food, or enjoying just having a good time playing. This kind of enjoyment, this emotional enjoyment will start come to me. And the other kind of important thing is relationship, because when you say meet a person you like, you will have this feeling of enjoyment, of pleasure being with the person. But for me, I never felt all these feelings as a child, and even until my teenage years, I didn't know that people actually like to be other people because they feel good being with other people.
His was a world of severely limited imagination, bound by the chains of logic and hard facts.
The most difficult part of recognizing people is their names, because the names are something that I could not understand. I mean, I don't see a relation of how, for example, you call someone Alex, so what does this Alex mean? Well, from what I remember last time and what I remember now, there is hardly any physical differences between the faces from my old memory and from my new memory. I mean, as in my new memory after I had reconnected with emotions. Now, but there is a key difference, which is somehow faces that I see today are obvious to me, and faces that I see in the past are not obvious to me. Well, when I was young, as a young child, the world around me was like a dream world. It's like a very big and abstract place where things happen without me knowing why they happen and what is happening and how they are happening.
Pay attention. What time is it now?
Looking into people's eyes create a huge sense of discomfort. Well, in my teenage years, I had a serious problem with time, like being patient, for example, because I wanted to get things done as quickly as possible, because there are so many things that I need to do, like so many books I need to read, so many topics to research on, so many things to try. So I wanted to just make everything run as fast as they could. I have to command the body to move a certain part, a certain way for a certain period of time. It's just like mechanical control of robots. So I have to calculate how to move something and where to move something, how much to move something, how much force exert, etc. and command my hand to do exactly that. And that was very straining on my attention.
But Eric did eventually find his way out of autism. Between 1997 and 2002, he spontaneously regained functions he never knew he had, such as the ability to feel emotions. It was as if the ice around his heart had begun to thaw, and with dramatic effect too. This was the turning point for Eric.
There's definitely more awareness now than before, but as I said, it's difficult to pick up autism right at birth. So unlike maybe Down syndrome, for example, where a doctor could pick up that syndrome right from the very beginning, in autism, the child may go unnoticed. And that's where we depend on parents knowing some of these indicators so that the parents can say, hey, there's something wrong with my child. I would like to bring him to go and see a pediatrician. Unless the parent does this, or the school teacher does this, or in this case, the childcare teacher does this, then the child may go unnoticed for quite many years. But I would say, on the whole, people are beginning to be more aware of what autism is all about. Well, maybe unexplained temper tantrums, poor communicative behavior, no reciprocity. The child seems to lack warmth and lack the need for cuddling. The child may not spontaneously go to the parent to be cuddled, to seek that kind of social relationship. The child may not look the parent in the eye. The child may seem to be not aware that a parent is talking to him, because when a parent says something, even at close range, the child doesn't react. He may be looking away. And sometimes if a child answers you, there may not be the kind of dialogue. It's a wooden kind of response, and it may not be actually responding to your question. It's some kind of repeated words that seem to have seem to answer to some other question rather than what the parent wants the child to answer, and maybe very fixed ideas about where things should be, how things should be arranged, arranging things in a straight line, and even a little bit of problem with a straight line, the child gets very distraught. The child doesn't play with toys in the usual way. If you give him a car, a toy car, he may just focus on the wheels and turn the wheels again and again, instead of being like other children, take this car and zoom, zoom. So all these are small indicators.
With advances in medical research and technology, new ways are being found to help us unravel the mystery of the autistic mind. Doctors can now peer into the brain to see exactly what is going on, but especially what might be going wrong.
Well, I never really grew up with autism because it was not like a temporary thing. It's actually a pervasive, as in it completely penetrates and unifies with my consciousness and the way I experience the world, so that autism is not like, say, a lump of cancer cells to be removed, but more like a defining character. It's like somebody, maybe he tends to get angry easily, so that may be one of his defining characters. So autism is like a defining character of me, and that is something that cannot be grown out of.
Since his transformation, Eric had entered into a whole new world, the world of humanity. He's now able to feel what others feel, and he can now relate to others in a way he never could before.
Now that I came to realize more about people, I found that there are many things that people take for granted but I never realized about. For example, the idea of family, not as an intellectual concept, but as an emotional concept. The emotional bond that we feel between different members of the family only became obvious to me when my grandfather died. And when I attended his funeral, suddenly I felt what it's like to lose family. This was something I never felt before. I didn't realize that there was such a thing, such a feeling. And I did my best during the funeral ceremony to make up for all the years that I did not understand the concept of family. And then there are many other concepts that I also didn't know, but I realized. And this is now my journey of rediscovering what people take for granted.